Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, we're
back.
Wow.
Yeah, this will be fine.
Fucking Jesus Christ. Fucking Donkey Kong battle. Hi, I'm Rick.
I'm John. And this is the D-pad where we talk about video
Ooh.
games.
Toss out the 8, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
This is Mega Man X Command Mission.
Sure enough.
Yeah,
Wow.
Death House.
Death House.
That's my favorite genre of music.
That's awesome.
Pokemon. We were talking about Pokemon at the end of the last episode.
So I wouldn't be surprised. So they basically have to build high-res 3D models of all the Pokemon they're going to use in the game.
Yes,
so I wouldn't be
but-
surprised if they just do a small subset. So they might, like, for example, they could redo the original game with 150. They could do a new generation with 150 new ones. Who knows?
So yeah, the better part of 1,000 high-res models just for Pokemon alone is definitely a pretty huge endeavor.
But they've got something. Like they could build on the ones they have, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say, the models they have are already high-res. They just break them down and, like, pixelate them.
Yeah,
for
but
the
they're
3DS.
not, like, Switch high-res.
No. Well, I mean, they might be. They might lower the, not integrity. There's a word for it.
I know what you're saying.
But like the quality of the models might be dropped before they get compressed down for the 3DS. But they do have them. I assume they just don't release them to the public. In the same way that I was looking, so like all the Sonic games on the Saturn that were like, so Sonic R, Sonic Jam, and even Sonic Extreme, what little of it is out there, they have full high-res 3D models for all of those. Like the way that it winds up working is when the game is being like exported, basically, it takes those models and breaks them and broke them down into sprites, essentially.
Yeah.
It's not exactly like that, but that's a really hyper simplified way of looking at it. But like,
But I see what you're saying. Yeah.
they may have. Frankly, the fact that the 3DS on such a small amount of space has all of those, even in a small form, is saying a lot.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious. I'm going to look up real quick what the capacity of each of those is, because that could impact this quite a bit. 3DS cart capacity.
But I almost hope that like they do treat it completely differently, because we don't need a Gen 8 that just feels a little bit different than Gen 7 on a different console.
Yeah.
It needs, I don't want to say a reboot, but it really needs some new, it needs to feel new.
Yeah, I think so. What I hope does not happen, I hope it is not a remake of anything.
Okay.
I don't want it to be a remake of Red, Blue, Yellow. I don't want it to be a remake of Diamond, Pearl. I don't want it to be a remake of Sun and Moon. Like, I want it to be a new game, original. Yeah. It can be related to one of those. It can be a long-awaited sequel to Gold, Silver that takes place at the end of that little trilogy of things, or like whatever. But it needs to be a new game.
No, I think that's sound. I think that's right. I would prefer that as well.
I think as far as we're concerned, I suspect it'll be a longer game. There's no reason it shouldn't be. If it's on the Switch, there's no a Pokemon game, an average Pokemon game, depending on how you play it, could be 10 hours, could be 60 hours, could be 100 hours. I think that a Pokemon game on Switch needs to err on the side of that larger time frame. And honestly, the 60 that like 100-hour, 60-hour thing is usually if you're like being completionist with like you're super looking for everything.
Yeah.
Because if we look at like Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, those were new games to us. We'd never played them before at all.
Yeah.
We nuzlocked them, which made it take longer because we had to grind and we occasionally had to retrace our steps. And we both, the main game took about 80 episodes to beat. And with the post-game added, it took you another about 15 episodes to beat that.
Yeah.
So we're looking at less than 100 episodes of, to be generous, we'll say 20 minutes apiece.
Okay.
They were usually more like 15 minutes, but we'll just go with 20 to give ourselves the widest boundary we can.
Okay.
So now we're looking at a little under 2,000 minutes, probably about 30, 32 hours. And that's us playing arguably the slowest way possible that doesn't involve building like a living dex or something.
Yep.
So 30 hours for the last, previous to this one, main core game. That used to be okay on console back in like the Super Nintendo days. Nowadays, I feel like people expect a bit more out of their RPGs.
I honestly think if it was the same size as modern Pokemon games, it would be fine. I think, I don't know, like
The one we're on right now is going to be longer.
More hours doesn't make better game.
That's
and,
true.
There is a bad conception going around that people are trying to sort of get that, so they feel like they get their money's worth because games are expensive again. But like, fuck you. Like, I'd rather have 20 awesome hours than this guy getting massively angry.
Oh God.
I'd rather have 20 awesome hours than 100 pretty good hours. Like,
yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, I feel like I'd love to get 60 amazing hours.
well, yeah,
out
in
of
a
any
perfect world,
RPG,
I'd love
but-
to have 1,000 hours of constant sex. But like, what do you want?
Okay, so from what I can see here, interesting. So the 3DS cartridges normally, from the sound of it, are 1 or 2 gigabytes, but can, according to a Taiwanese company, they can allegedly go as high as 8 gigabytes.
Okay.
The Nintendo Switch, the smallest cartridge they have is 1 gigabyte, but they can go as high as 32 gigabytes.
Right, so it could be much bigger if they want.
So,
That actually surprised me. I thought the difference would be greater.
yeah. And honestly, it's kind of amazing how much they're able to do in 32 gigs. Nowadays, like, the Blu-ray games that you get on a PS4 are incredibly huge. Those are gigantic game discs.
Yeah.
In fact, let's see. PS4.
So does Final Strike just happen all the fucking time now?
Pretty much.
Is this game going to ever be difficult?
Yes.
Because like I haven't even used hyper mode
It's a good point.
since I started. I mean, although there was that one battle with Jaguar took forever.
I don't remember this game being super difficult, with the exception of the bonus bosses. There were 2 bonus. All right.
Ruby Weapon, yeah.
Yeah. There are 2 bonus bosses, and I say bosses lightly because one of them, if I remember correctly, is a boss. Another one of them is like a gauntlet of bosses, where if you lose the ability, I think. Actually, no, if you're trying to like 100% the game, there's some items and shit that you steal from one of the secret gauntlet of bosses that it's the only place you can get them. I don't give a shit about that. I'm not really worried about it, but there's a gauntlet of bosses that you fight as one of your secrets, and the other one is an individual boss, and those are incredibly difficult.
Okay.
I don't think I ever beat them back in the day, which I guess would have been about almost 15 years ago, considering
Jesus
I don't think I've
Christ.
played this since it came out, basically.
This game looks pretty good for 15 years old.
Yeah, honestly, compare one of
Cell
these days.
shaded holds up so much better than other stuff.
It really does. And, like, this isn't even high def. Like, there's a bit of upscaling happening on our TV that is probably not happening in the recording.
Yeah.
But it looks fine. It's kind of ironic. Cell shaded got shit on for being a really simplistic art style, but it looks so much better than, like, I'll be honest, I haven't played Twilight Princess HD yet. I intend to at some point, just like on my own, but that game looks pretty rad and badass on the GameCube back in the day, but like looking at high res stuff from that always just makes me feel kind of gross.
Yeah.
Because here's this realistic, and by realistic I mean dirty.
Right. I got to stop making this guy angry. I thought I attacked him.
You wouldn't like it when he's angry. So, yeah, a Pokemon, whether it's Pokemon Stars, codename whatever, or an entirely separate thing, is unknown at this time.
Yeah.
It's possible that Ultra Moon and Ultra Sun are what used to be Stars.
Oh, maybe Ultra Moon and Ultra Sun are setting up a new game in the Sun Moon trilogy.
They could be. I wouldn't mind there being
For the
a 3-game series, basically, of
Yeah.
Sun or Moon, Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon, and then this Switch game, or if there's 2. I don't even know if they'll do 2 on the Switch.
Yeah, good call.
I
don't know.
Because I don't know how much local Switch connection there is.
In theory, it can do anything the 3DS can do, I think.
Yeah, okay. Probably a smart move. Ultimately, it's kind of like it's basically like taking the 2DS and just cranking it up to the max. Yeah. It's kind of interesting watching how the Wii became the Wii U with a second screen.
Yep.
Not long after. I mean, we got the DS we'd had for a long time before that, but the DS to 3DS to the 2DS getting one screen, and they both seem to have sort of converged on this single screen, handheld, and home console hybrid that is the Switch.
Did Final Strike just cancel itself?
Did it? Oh, I don't know.
Maybe
I wasn't looking.
Maybe I hit B.
Oh, maybe. But yeah, I'm excited for it. It bugs me so much to hear about things that are starting development.
I know.
It's ironic.
It's nice that they're like getting us excited, but like it's a
It's
year
gonna
away.
Be, it's not going to be next year. My assumption, I think I put this on Twitter. My assumption of what's going to happen is that it's going to be. So we got Pokemon X and Y in 2013.
So every door is locked. I got to figure out how to get into places.
Check that
Have I
one.
gone down here yet?
Yeah,
right.
Wild Stallions.
I mean, there's still tons of shit on the Switch that I'm excited to play. That
oh god,
is, like,
yeah. That their release
Did
schedule.
you get ARMS yet?
I'm gonna throw. I haven't downloaded it yet. We might download it to do it tomorrow.
Yeah,
from our
we
perspective,
should
we're gonna see how it goes.
that
But
here.
if
I'm gonna
not,
focus on
then
Nighthammer.
I suspect the second weekend in July would feature a lot of ARMS.
Cool.
Just because I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks and I'm not going to have an easy way of getting that to happen otherwise. But I'm going to throw up on here real quick. And now after that's done, I'm going to put on the screen the current Nintendo Switch release schedule and the 3DS release schedule is down below. Nintendo's got a pretty packed lineup.
Sorry, man, I couldn't really hear you over your boner. Could you?
No, I'm not going to turn
pop
it down.
Okay.
No, I'm turning that thing up as it goes. It's
God.
really though that like their schedule is kind of incredible considering the Wii U is like the inverse of that completely.
Yeah.
Where it's
Well,
like
they even said in Reggie just had an interview and he was like, "Yeah, we're trying to literally do the exact opposite of what we did with the Wii U."
good. I'm glad because like
Yeah.
I've been a Nintendo fan my whole life.
Yeah.
I primarily had Nintendo systems. I had a Genesis. I briefly had a 32X that barely worked.
barely worked
I
out
had
of the
Game
box,
Gear.
Yeah.
And I eventually got a PSP way after all of that. Like, I have owned very little in the way of non-Nintendo stuff. And it's just
Yeah.
because, like, you get used to certain franchises, and with Nintendo in particular, most of the shit that shows up on Nintendo is only going to show up on Nintendo.
Yeah.
At least their main stuff. Like, obviously, there's lots of crossover. Minecraft getting full crossover capability across everything but PlayStation is actually a really incredible step forward for everybody.
That is cool. That's awesome.
Sony played the king bitch by shitting on the cake. Apparently, I think Microsoft specifically went to went to Nintendo, went to Sony, and they were already.
We
I
have
guess,
a dream of a one-world Minecraft.
Yeah, Nintendo was like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's
They
be
already
friends.
because they already have or were going to have. No, I think they already have Minecraft for Switch, or they had already announced it.
Yep.
Same thing for PlayStation. They've got Minecraft, but Nintendo was like, yeah, let's do this. And Sony was like, look, I don't know if this meets our standards for protecting children. It's like,
Fuck you.
it's fucking Minecraft. Like,
Yeah.
and so, was it Phil
Who?
Spencer?
Phil
No, I forget.
Spector?
No, there was
No.
the guy who's basically at the top of the Xbox thing entirely right now was getting interviewed about it, and like Microsoft and Sony are fairly chummy, at least on social media, and like outwardly like, yo, the old days of the console wars are kind of over.
Yeah.
At this point, there's no reason not to have an amicable business relationship with each other. Like, we're well past the days
Am I
of
going back
Sega
the way
does
I
what
came?
Nintendo don't. I don't know. Prisoner
like-
Admission Division? Does
I
that
feel
sound
like I
familiar?
am.
Oh, yeah, you are. You've been in this room.
Yeah, I
It's already
unlocked
filled
it.
out.
Yep.
Shit, go back down. But so someone is interviewing him, and it's him at E3 on this giant couch thing, and like they had this wide shot of the guy interviewing him for I think a video podcast, and him, and it was like the two of them sitting like closer, about as close as we are sitting right now on a couch 3 times as large
Jesus.
in a room much bigger than this that was like totally empty. So it was like kind of a weirdly isolated sort of feel. But so you can't go through that one. Can you go through? Oh,
this
that's,
one has a bunch of locked doors, and so does the other one.
Hmm.
So this is all locked.
What happens if you approach a locked door? Lock engage. What about that? All right, go back. There was a thing behind you. There was a thing with like a
I
glowing
probably
red
walked
light.
by it 100 times.
But so yeah, they were interviewing them, and he basically was just like, "Yeah, this was like a super punk move on Sony's part. There's no reason
Yeah.
to bail on this kind of a situation. We're not.
Right.
I mean, and he was just like, and to hide behind." Like protecting children as the reason for is like
totally lame.
Yeah, it's like we have incredibly high standards.
Yeah.
This is Minecraft we're talking. This isn't GTA. It's Minecraft. It's the most
Right.
like innocent game that we've ever really had on our system. And then the interviewer was like, yeah, I'm like, Nintendo said yes. And he's like, yeah, Nintendo's on board.
Yeah.
And if anyone's going to care about the kids more than anybody else, it's going to be Nintendo.
Yeah, for sure.
So if Nintendo's on board and you're bailing because you think kids aren't being protected, then it's pretty clear that that's not the real reason for it.
Yeah, that's awful.
It's kind of a bummer. I've never played Minecraft. I've never
Me
been all
neither.
that interested in it. But I see the appeal in it.
Yeah,
For
and,
all
like,
ages.
The more I see of it, because it's on the Switch, like I'm
Yeah.
seeing more and more. So I'm like, oh, it looks like I can see that being cool.
And yeah, it seems like a super
really
dick
just
move
this?
on Sony's part. Unlocking
Yep.
West
Oh,
Pris.
fuck you.
There you go. 3
Everything-
open doors.
Sorry, guys. I walked by it and thought I hit A, and I must not have.
Oh, man, we're going to free the prisoners next time.
all right, cool.
Get on it. Get up.
Once again, back is the incredible. Refuse to lose.
Get on it. Get up.
Once again, back is the incredible.